How about now? Should be able to hear me now, I think. Ay, 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 ay. Technical difficulties, guys. Okay. Yeah, I had it turned off on the keyboard. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, it's a great morning. I'm awake, I'm alive, and I'm still sober. So it's a good day. Okay, so I have Facebook on my phone live right now and YouTube here live as well. The way I go live is through StreamYard, and go live for Facebook as well. So I started doing these meetings so that way I could help others. Um, I started my channel 2 years ago on YouTube, and it took me about, I want to say about a year to decide whether I really wanted to do meetings. And, my sobriety is my first priority, so why not share it with other people? That's why I'm here. So, rules: no harassment, no judgment, and be kind to each other. And, yes, 2 years on YouTube. It's pretty awesome. I do have subscribers, not enough to be monetized, but the meetings are not part of that part of my channel. I mean, it is a part, but it's not a monetizing or any part like that. So, no worry about that. And so, another rule is please don't go to other people's channels and harass them there. Just because they are in the chat does not mean that they are the recovering alcoholic or the alcoholic reaching out to get help. They could just be a support to me and or trying to figure out ways and suggestions and stuff to help a family or a friend with their sobriety. And so that is why we allow everyone to come and join in and be part of the AA. So, Facebook people, I will say the Serenity Prayer after the meeting, and then I have to leave the live on my phone because I will do the daily reflections. And if you want to see or hear the daily reflections, go over to my YouTube channel. It's Hawkins Family Adventures. My logo is on my Facebook page. Please go ahead and go over there, and hopefully you can make it to the YouTube side and be able to hear the daily reflections. If not, I also share after the live stream, I share the reflections on my page. So if that's where you go for your videos and whatever solely, then check out that post on my Facebook. So I'm Sandra. I'm an alcoholic. I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer. Yes, I smoke. Waiting on the doctor to approve my meds. All right. Let me put that out. Okay. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And you can find the steps and traditions in your 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. It's in the content. I know them all by heart, but I have the book just in case if I lose track of my thought. So let's get going. 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 4. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. I admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. Thank you for sharing. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So, if you're watching the replay, look in the description. It'll be under the video. It will say some of the description, and then it'll say more. If you click on the more, I make sure to put in the description what page we're on and story. So right now we are on two Fear of Fear on page 289 in the fourth edition Big Book. So Fear of Fear. This lady was cautious. She decided she wouldn't let herself go in her drinking, and she would never take the morning drink. I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I thought my problem was that I had been married to a drunk for 27 years. And when my husband found AA, to the second meeting, I came to the second meeting with him. I thought it was wonderful, simply marvelous for him, but not for me. Then I went to another meeting and I still thought it was wonderful for him, but not for me. That was on a hot summer evening down in the Greenwich Village group, and there was a little porch, and there in the old meeting place on Sullivan Street. And after the meeting, I went out on the steps for some air. In the doorway stood a lovely young girl who said, "Are you one of us spouses too?" I said, "Oh, goodness, no. My husband is. He's in there." She told me her name, and I said, "I know you from somewhere." It turned out that she had been in high school with my daughter. I said, "Eileen, are you one of those people?" And she said, "Oh, yes, I'm in this." As we walked back through the hall, I, for the first time in my life, said to another human being, "I'm having trouble with my drinking too." She took me by the hand and introduced me to the women that I'm, hey Gina, very proud to call my sponsor. This woman and her husband are both in AA, and she said to me, "Oh, but you're not the alcoholic, it's your husband." I said, "Yes." She said, "How long have you been married?" I said, 27 years. She said, 27 years to an alcoholic? How did you ever stand it? I thought, now here's a nice sympathetic soul. This is for me. I said, "Well, I said it to keep the home together and for the children's sake." She said, "Yes, I know you're just a marty, aren't you?" I walked away from the woman, grinding my teeth and cursing under my breath. Fortunately, I didn't say a word to George on the way home. But that night I tried to sleep, and I thought, "You're some marty, Jane. Let's look at the record." And when I looked at it, I knew I was just as much a drunk as George was, if not worse. I nudged George next morning and I said, "I'm in." And he said, "Oh, I knew you made it, or you'd make it." I started drinking nearly 30 years ago, right after I was married. My first drinking spree was on corn liquor, and I was allergic to it. Believe me, I was deathly sick every time I took a drink. But we had to do a lot of entertaining. My husband liked to have a good time. I was very young, and I wanted to have a good time too. The only way I knew to do it was to drink right along with him. I got into terrific trouble with my drinking. I was afraid, and I had made my mind up that I would never get drunk. So I was watchful and careful. We had a small child, and I loved her dearly. so that held me back quite a bit in my drinking career. Even so, every time I drank, I seemed to get in trouble. I always wanted to drink too much, so I was watchful, always watchful, counting continue counting my drinks. I were if we invited to a formal party and I knew they were only going to have one or two drinks, I wouldn't have any. I was being very cagey because I knew that if I did take one or two, I might want to take five or six, seven or eight. I did stay fairly good for a few years, but I wasn't happy and I didn't ever let myself go in my drinking. After my son, our second child, came along, and as he became school age and was away at school most of the time, something happened. I really started drinking with a bang. I never went to a hospital, never lost a job. I was never in jail, and unlike many others, I never took a drink in the morning. I needed a drink, but I was afraid to take a morning drink because I didn't want to be a drunk. I became a drunk anyway, but I was scared to death to take that morning drink, and I was accused of it many times when I went to play bridge in the afternoon, but I really never did take a morning drink. I was still woozy from the night before. I should have lost my husband, and I think that only the fact that he was an alcoholic too kept us together. No one else would have stayed with me. Many women who have reached the stage that I had reached in my drinking have lost husbands, children, homes, everything they told or everything they hold dear. I have been very fortunate in my ways, or in many ways. The important thing I lost was my self respect. I could feel fear coming into my life. I couldn't face people. I couldn't look them straight in the eyes, although I had always been a self possessed, brazen person. I'd brazen anything out. I lied like a trooper to get out of many scrapes. But I felt a fear coming into my life and I couldn't cope with it. I got so that I hid quite a bit of the time, wouldn't answer the phone, and stayed by myself as much as I could. I noticed that I was avoiding all my social friends except for my bridge club. I couldn't keep up with any of my other friends, and I wouldn't go to anyone's house unless I knew they drank as heavily as I did. I never knew it was the first drink that did it. I thought I was losing my mind. When I realized that I couldn't stop drinking, that frightened me terribly. George tried many times to go on the wagon. If I had been sincere in what I thought I wanted more than anything else in life, I a sober husband and a happy, contented home. I would have gone on the wagon with him. I did try for a day or two, but something would always come up and would throw me. It would be a little thing, the rug being crooked, or any silly little thing that I think was wrong, and off I go drinking and sneaking my drinks. I had bottles hidden all over the apartment. I didn't think my children knew about it, but I found out they did. It's surprising how we think we fool everybody in our drinking. I reached a stage where I couldn't go. Sorry about that. Lay down now. Right now, lay down. You're rude. Leave it to the dog. Uh, it didn't bother me anymore whether George was drinking or not. I had to have liquor. Sometimes I would lie on the bathroom floor, deathly sick, praying I would die, and praying to God, and as I always had prayed to Him when I was drinking, dear God, get me out of this one and I'll never do it again. And then I'd say, God, I don't pay any attention or don't pay any attention to me. You know I'll do it tomorrow. The very same thing. I used to make excuses to try to get George off the wagon. Just a second, I'm kind of cold. I'm gonna put a hoodie on. Sorry about that, but we are in winter weather warning right now, and it's cold out there. And my bedroom window is open a little bit. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Um. Okay, I get so fed up with drinking all alone and bearing the burden of guilt all by myself that I egg him on to drink to get started again. And then I'd fight with him because he had started. And the whole merry-go-round would be on again. And he, poor dear, didn't know what was going on. He used to wonder when he'd stop one of his bottles around the house, just how he could have overlooked that particular bottle. I myself didn't know all the places I had hidden them, or had them hidden. I said it backwards. Fix this a little bit. There we go. We have only been in a few years, but now we're trying to make up for lost time. 27 years of confusion is what my early married life was. Now the picture had changed completely. We have faith in each other, trust in each other, and understanding AA has given us that. It has taught me so many things. It has changed my thinking entirely about everything I do. I can't afford resentment against anyone because they are the buildup of any or of another drunk. I must live and let live and think that one important word means so much to me. My life was always act and react. I never stopped to think. I just didn't give a whoop about myself or anyone else. I try to live our program as it has been outlined to me, one day at a time. I try to live today so that tomorrow I won't be ashamed when I wake up in the morning In the old days, I hated to wake up and look back at what last night had been like. I never could face it. The next morning, and unless I had some rosy picture of what was going to happen that day, I wouldn't even feel like getting up in the morning at all. It really wasn't living. Now I feel so very grateful not only for my sobriety, which I try to maintain day by day, but I'm grateful also for the ability to help other people. I never thought I could be useful to anyone except my husband and my children, and perhaps a few friends. But AA has shown me that I can help other alcoholics. Many of my neighbors devoted time to volunteer work. There was one woman especially, and I'd watch her from my window every morning, leaving faithfully to go to the hospital in the neighborhood. I said, "Why don't you do it too?" I said, "I'd love to," she said. "I suppose I put your name down as a volunteer, even if you can only give 1 or 2 days." But then I thought, well, now wait. How will I feel next Tuesday? How will I feel next Friday if I make it a Friday? How will I feel next Saturday morning? I never knew. I was afraid to set even one day. I could never be sure I'd have a clear head and hands that were willing to do some work. So I never did any volunteer work, and I felt depleted. With I had the time, I certainly had the compatibility, but I never did a thing. I am trying now each day to make up for all those selfish thoughts, foolish things I did in my drinking days. I hope that I never forget to be grateful. And that is the end of Fear of Fear. I highlighted that I never thought I could be useful to anyone except for my husband and my children and perhaps a few friends. But AA has shown me that I can help other alcoholics. Um, I highlighted that because I did that. I was like that when I first got sober. I didn't want to commit myself to something, like anything at all. And um, I didn't know if I was going to be sober the next day in the beginning because, when you're first starting, you don't know. And you don't want to, like, take that chance of not doing the right thing. And for me, I learned that through AA that I can help. I can help the other alcoholic. I can volunteer to do something and help someone. I can volunteer my time to help someone to get over the thoughts of, oh, I'm going to go get that drink, or, oh, I'm going to go get high. I can help with that. I can help my friends and my family to help others to know what to do or what to say, of things that might help them decide there is that help and I'm not alone. And I can go and get that help. And I am able to help you. That's why I have it on YouTube. That's why I have it on Facebook. Because this is my way of giving the free gift that I received myself for free. And if I'm able to do that, then that is something I want to do. Hi, Cody. And then I also have highlighted here, I am trying now each day to make up for all those selfish, thoughtless, foolish things I did in my drinking days. I hope that I never forget to be grateful. When I first started, I did want to make up for all of those things that I had done that was selfish and thoughtless, and I didn't care when I was drinking. I didn't have any care for anyone else other than that drink. And that's what makes us alcoholics is you reach that point where you're like, okay, now I have to have this amount of money tomorrow because I need to have that drink. I can't get up and not have that drink. So I need to make sure I can get it. One way or another, I need to get that drink. Or I need to find that thing that I am chasing. But then you can sit back and realize that once you've made up for that, because you can't keep trying to get past all of that because that is in the past. You can only go forward. As some of the music I listen to always says, you can only go forward and you got to keep going. The past is there. It is in the rearview mirror, and the mirror in front, the window in front of you is a lot bigger. And this that is a lyric in a song that I listen to quite frequently. Um, but I do remind myself that I need to be grateful for my sobriety and for my fellowship that I have become a part of, and a big movement that has been here for many, many, many years. Um, so this book that I am reading, um, it's the fourth edition, so I think it's the newest one, but I'm not definitely sure. But I'm glad that we had this book, and it tells us about the stories of these men and women because it does help. Okay, the the first edition, 16 printings in 1939 to 1955. Second edition was done in 1955 to 1974. Third edition was 74 printing from 1976 to 2001. And then the fourth edition, new and revised 2001, first printing October 2001, 16th printing September 2005. So this is the newest one. I'm glad that we have Bill's story and the solutions and the steps and the traditions that we can live by that can help us through our day-to-day life and things that we can do every day. And I love you. I see you're here. My sponsors in the house. Um, but being able to have the tools and the knowledge to be able to help the next person, whether it's one person or 50 people, it is what I can do, and it doesn't take that long to share what you have learned and become that support for someone. I don't talk to my sponsors every day, and I don't talk to my sponsees every day. but I have them, and I have my group that I can go to, and I have this group that I'm doing that helped me to be present and be able to share all of my knowledge and my learning and my ways that I stay sober. And what I learned to do is when you're in that hard spot and you feel like you're gonna break down, say the serenity prayer. When you get annoyed with someone, this is one out of my sponsors' mouth. Pray for them. That's all you can do. Pray that they find it's God's will and not their own. And the only thing you can control is what's in your own hula hoop. Yes, your own hula hoop, which means only you. You can't expect someone to do as you say. You can only suggest it. And maybe one day they will get it. Some of us get it and some don't. And I pray for everyone that needs it can come and get the help. Lily says hi to my sponsor, or sponsors, I should say, because I have two. Um, but yeah, so the ways I learn is I always tell people I don't care who you are, and I've said it at work many times. I'm a recovering alcoholic and I'm not scared to say it. I'm not scared of who knows it. I am darn proud of being a recovering alcoholic because for the rest of my life, I will be a recovering alcoholic. And I'm only sober for today. And you can't count tomorrow because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. But I'm still sober and I'm proud to be sober. And I'm so grateful that I found the help that I have found. Yes, it is hard to live with one alcoholic, but to live with two, it is hard, very hard to deal with. I don't have that issue, but I know you do, and I see it every day. Um, it's hard, and I don't know how you get through your day putting up with some of it. I'm not saying it's all bad, but putting up with some of it is like, holy cow, I don't know how, you know. And so, and now the dog's gonna get up here and chew on his bone off of my bed with that bone. Now, take it to your bed right now. Thank you. Can't stand it when he does that. He brings his bone up here and gnaws on it on the bed and leaves a puddle. He's a butt. Oh, and he got into the howling. Chud backs away and he starts to howl. But my go-to is coffee or ice cubes. Um, so I did pick up bad habits when I quit drinking. One major bad habit is smoking. I quit for 3 days and then I went back. And the time before that, I made it 60 days. So this next time, because I'm expecting to get more meds for it, uh, I'm quitting like maybe a week after I start taking it, and then I'm gonna be done for the rest of my life. I can't keep smoking. And then, of course, ice cubes, popsicles, and um, coffee. But I don't drink that much coffee now. For some reason, the Chantix made me not like coffee very much. I don't know. It's weird. But, so, um, our next story is a housewife who drank at home. And we will start that on Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I get to go back to work real soon. So I'm hopeful that they can tell me, okay, you can start putting your schedule, pick your schedule, what days and shifts you want to do, because I am my own employer, basically. Let's see. Uh, Trying to find another spot in here that this is it. I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I thought my problem was that I had been married to a drunk for 27 years. And when my husband found AA, I came to the second meeting with him. I thought it was wonderful, simply marvelous for him, but not for me. Then I went to another meeting and I still thought it was wonderful for him, but not for me. And for her to be able to finally come out when there's a newcomer, it is one of the things that happens when we do our meetings. Um, I picked my first sponsor because I called 3 people on the phone list because the first meeting I went to, I got a list of all the females and their phone numbers so I could call them. And I had been sober for like 3 months, I think, when I started AA. And so the third person I called answered the phone. All I wanted to know was when the next meeting was. And so my first sponsor answered her phone, and I was like, "That's my sponsor." And nobody had told me anything about needing a sponsor or I should get one or nothing. We hadn't even reached that yet. So, um, but as you can tell, I got my voice back. I used my voice more than I used to. When I was drinking, the only reason I used it was, hey, you got some change? Or hey, you got a beer? Or you got any whiskey? Yeah, that was me. And it was from sunup to sundown, all day long and half the night. So, but I get to wake up sober. And for that, I'm grateful. For my group, I'm grateful. For all of you, I'm very grateful. For the people that I have sponsored, I'm grateful. For my sponsors, I'm grateful. I'm forever grateful to the whole thing because in a few days, well, maybe a couple of weeks, I will be 9 years sobriety, and I am so grateful for every single day. And but I'm gonna go ahead and say the Serenity Prayer for Facebook and get back over here to YouTube and read the daily reflection. And if you're new here, welcome. Please comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the next videos. I do 3 lives a week. So Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is AA, and Wednesdays at 7:15 a.m. is my adventures, and on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I do another AA meeting. So you are all welcome to join me on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll be right back, YouTube, just a minute. I'm back. So let me. I had a whole bunch of people in here on Facebook. Just a minute. Uh, what did you comment on that? Okay. Anyways, let's get over here and get the daily reflection. Kind of exit out of Facebook. Okay, here we go. So I have been sober for 8 years, 11 months, and 13 days, or 3,269 days. Daily reflection, October 28th. An unbroken tradition. We conceive the survival and spread of Alcoholics Anonymous to be something of far greater importance than the weight we could collectively throw back on any other cause. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 177. How much it means to me that an unbroken tradition of more than half a century is a thread that connects me to Bill W. and Dr. Bob. How much more grounded I feel to be in a fellowship whose aims are consistent and unflagging. I am grateful that the energies of AA have never been scattered and but focused instead on our members and on individual sobriety. My beliefs are what make me human. I am free to mold or free to hold any opinion, but AA's purpose, so clearly stated 50 years ago, is for me to keep sober. That purpose has promoted round the clock meeting schedules and the thousands of intergroup and central service offices with their thousands of volunteers like the sun focused through a magnifying glass. AA's single vision has lit a fire of faith and sobriety in millions of hearts, including mine. And that's that. Oh wait. Okay. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Let's say the Serenity Prayer, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It's worth it if you work it. Love you guys. Be safe out there. Have a great Halloween. See you Tuesday.